Welcome to our series of conversations, an initiative of the HamZiSتی Cultural Foundation. In our conversations each time, we try to discover how we could build a peaceful, just, and prosperous Iran. In the past, we've been talking about the role of education, and we've been talking about the role of family in achieving this goal. Today, we'll be talking about governance a little bit. I'm joined again by Dr. Abedian, and we'll be talking about how governance can help achieve social prosperity. Now, we have a lot of mistrust in our systems of governance, and there's a lot of corruption that's associated with governance. How can we shift that away? How can we set up our systems of governance so that they can succeed rather than fail and help us achieve social prosperity?
Leila, in one of the most important lessons that 21st century has brought us is that success in social sense, prosperity if you prefer, both for the individuals and for nations, is not solely but largely dependent on how we structure institutions of governance. Remember, we come from a history, if you go back 1,000 years, all nations in the East and the West, they come from an authoritarian, there was a ruler, a king, a queen, a strong person, whether mostly men, who have instilled the sense of governance in a particular authoritarian, non-participatory style. And it's in part of our DNA. We have military men who control things. For example, the term control is a military story. Power, such a party comes to power. It goes back to our DNA. Modern societies cannot prosper if we do not completely revise and rethink and restructure institutions of governance. Gone are the days that an individual was all-knowing, all-important. We need to think of institutions as centers of interaction with the individual and interactions with the society in pursuit of both individual prosperity, progress, and welfare, as well as communal or social welfare and development. Unless we get these institutions right, no matter what paradigm become, no matter who we blame, the society will be stuck, whether it's Eastern or Western. And interesting enough, it doesn't relate to ideological, religious, and other values at all. So modern societies are about designing the institutions so that they will have certain attributes, certain qualities. For example, as a constellation or as a configuration of a number of institutions, they should all pursue fairness. Justice becomes very important as the pivot or the focal point of their existence. We can't have a society that one institution is seeking justice, the other institution promoting injustice, or preferential treatment of some groups over others. These groups could be religious. Middle East is full of it, not just in Iran. Every society that you can choose in the Middle East, preference is based on religion. Or preferential treatment of one gender over another, on whatever ground, whether it's tribal, whether it's religious, whether it's cultural, whatever we label put on it, that institution is not conducive to social development. We could also have institutions that have evolved or structured to prejudice the youth. How many societies in the East and the West we have, including Iran, where the children and the youth are not respected and they are not fairly treated. So the challenge of governance is, can we have institutions that coordinate and act in sync to promote fairness in the society? The other attribute that they should have is there should be some level of contestability. People should know that if something is not fair, they can clearly, openly contest it. If the society is governed with the rules that somebody is above the law, or some institutions cannot be questioned, or questioning is not allowed at all because somebody has issued a verdict, some or other, whether it's military verdict, religious verdict, cultural verdict, whatever. That nature of that type of governance is not conducive to prosperity.
What this brings up for me as well is, and you mentioned it, is we have to rethink the definition of power. I feel like in my research, at least when it comes to communication, so much of how we speak to each other is based on how we conceive of our human relations with each other. Is power something that we can have and grab and own in groups or as individuals? Is it tied to material resources, having money, having guns? Or is it something that is co-created? Is it something that's relational? Is it a force between people? In African philosophy, in Ubuntu, power is really relational. It's something that's between people. It's that which evolves out of cooperation and collaboration. So how do we rethink power in order to have healthier systems of governance?
I think the terms power, which is about the interrelationships and the relative superiority or inferiority, domination or subordination of people and individuals, all these are subsumed in the history of how governance has come about. Not only we have to rethink them, we have to actually re-understand them, redefine them, and go back to the drawing board to see what is power for. If the power is for domination and messing people around in whatever framework, or the entire search or thirst for power is to serve. If you want to serve, we don't need to be powerful. We don't need power to serve the society. If prosperity means that a whole lot of people work towards creating development, creating welfare, well, they can do it without being in charge. I don't need to be president of somewhere to serve the society. Maybe the one who serves has got more power than the one who is in the seat of power. So if we redefine all of these, then governance becomes a different challenge. It becomes about how do we restructure our society that everybody's resources, talents, capabilities are allowed to flourish. And when that happens, within the framework of fairness, respect, reciprocity, then suddenly the society is unlocking all these powers that are in every individual, in every tribe, in every religious group, in every gender, and in every age group. Then we have a collective prosperity that we can all look forward to.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Iraj. We would love to hear your thoughts about power. What is power and how can we restructure and rethink governance? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please log on to www.hamzaban.org or find us on social media, Twitter and Facebook.